Everybody asks me this question, but honestly, when you hear the story, when somebody told me about it, I was like, I cannot believe that there is somebody like this that lived ever in Africa. He's like an Idi Amin. This guy is completely off the charts. He's just crazy. And the twists and turns in this movie, and because of the nature of the story, kingmaker, kings, kingdoms, I knew that I had a lot to play with in terms of production value. So I wanted to do it, and I did it. Because I did Formula Ransom Kuti, I learned how to put together an epic. So doing it the way it was is now, for me, a walk in the park. Nothing to write home about. It's easy. Oh, Femi Branch. So listen, Femi Branch story. I did a musical, stage musical called Morimi. Femi was the lead in that. It was the Oluigbo. That was when I spotted him and I said, I'm coming for this guy. And a couple of years later, Gar's story comes up. I didn't audition. I didn't do a wide audition. I just called him and said, Femi, I have a job for you. And that's it. That's why it's important that an actor puts in their best in whatever production, because you don't know when, sometime, somehow, somebody's going to remember that performance. I think this film will attract a global audience because the themes are universal. Greed, lust, power, It's all something that everybody would want to watch, and it's about power and the lust for power. That's what it's about.
I guess this question is what has made us not to tell a lot of our history. This question is what has made history not to be taught in our schools. This question is what has made a lot of people not to know about our culture, about our history, because we don't tell it. And when you tell it, people ask, why you tell it? We tell it because it is the story of our lives. If you don't know where you are coming from, you cannot know where you are going to. So history and culture is a critical part of any civilization. And we don't do a lot of telling that, which is why we are telling it. We have amazing stories that has not been told, and our stories are, let me use the word sweet. They are sweet if you can tell them well. And we tell them also not just for entertainment, not just for education, not just for information, but also for conservation, because we keep the stories, our history, our culture fresh in people's mind and put it in a system that generations yet unborn can see and know about their history and culture as well. So you are conserving for the future generation as much as you are entertaining people, you are educating people, you are informing people. We try to, as much as possible, depict the old 18th century architecture as much as possible. We built from scratch on a virgin land, so we could control the look and feel and try to design the set to fit the movements we want on set, to fit the different sets that we want and the different location we wanted for each of the scene. So the architecture was pretty much woven around the architecture in the ancient Oyo Empire, even though it may have some differences. Sometimes you can't get it all exactly the way it was. Well, Bolanle Austen is an amazing director and casting director. She knows what she wants. She sees the picture of each of the role and then has to look for somebody that can interpret what she has in mind or her vision or her picture for that role. So it doesn't come easy. She must trust that you can deliver and that you are amenable to fit into that role.
Culture, the history, the traditions of the people, that this teaches. Watching this alone, if you're attentive, I hope, you don't even have to work too hard to understand the structure of governance of old Oyo Empire. It's all there. And when people watch this, beyond the pleasure it's likely to give you, the pleasure of viewing that it's likely to give you, beyond the moral questions, it teaches a lot of history. It teaches people about the tradition of the people and all that. I think that will be powerful. I think this will travel across demographies, across social stratas. I think this will travel. That culture is dynamic, and governance is also part of the culture of a people. So if modernity has compelled us in the direction of democracy and all that, all we can do is make the best of it, because it's not also as if the old style of governance that had the Oba at the top and the chiefs and so on did not have its weaknesses. It did have. Some of them could tend towards autocracy, like you even have with Bashorunka, Some of them could tend towards autocracy and all that. But generally, I feel that there is no governance, any type of governance, that cannot go bad. All it needs is one rogue person. And there is none of them that can also not be excellent. All you need is one good ruler.
Yeah, it is very important because they say that the people that forget their past, they forget their future. Yoruba say that you understand? So one of the biggest travesties that has happened to us in this country is when history was cancelled in schools. And our Gen Z, our young generation now, don't even have any idea of where we're coming from. So when this kind of project comes along, it helps to remind us, the old ones, then the younger ones, it helps to tell them this is where we're coming from. These are the mistakes, because when we're celebrating our past heroes, you understand, we also have our past villains as well. And we learn from all of them. We learn from the heroes, we learn from the villains. So let's just say that this is to let the young generation know that, look, there was a man at this time of time that was there. These are the mistakes he made. Don't make those kind of mistakes. So it's very important to learn from our past. Well, that was the insignia of the House of Gar. The insignia of the House of Gar was the elephant. When you, every house then, like when you saw when he entered into the hall of the Oyomesi, and when each of the Oyomesi members had their own insignia, had their family insignia behind them. So the elephant is the family insignia for the House of Gar.